Good morning. Hope you're doing well today. Today we are talking about creative problem solving and decision making in sports. This is chapter 3. So the decisions you make will affect your management career. Problem solving and decision making are crucial skills of effective managers. By following the 6 steps in the decision making model presented in this chapter, you can improve your ability to solve problems and make decisions. So after studying this chapter, you should be able to describe how meeting objectives, solving problems, and making decisions are connected, as well as how to explain how management functions, decision-making, and problem-solving relate. You should also be able to list the 6 steps in decision-making, identify programmed and non-programmed decisions, and recognize certain risky and uncertain business conditions. Know when to use the different decision models and when to make decisions as a group or as an individual. Be able to state the difference between an objective and must and want criteria. Explain how creativity and innovation differ, and describe the 3 stages in the creative process, as well as how to explain how quantitative and cost-benefit analysis facilitate selecting alternatives. Problem and decision making are important skills. In fact, decision making is one of the 5 important management skills, as we discussed in chapter 1. And conceptual skills help in decision making. Organizations recruit employees with problem solving skills. We all make decisions in our personal and professional lives. As coaches and sport managers, we teach and encourage our players and employees to make good decisions because the success of the individual, the team, and the organization is based on the decisions we make. Clearly, team performance is based on the selection decisions of the coaches and athletes and the decisions that they make on and off the field. Starter is an American clothing manufacturer focusing on major sports teams. Starter's current licenses include the MLB, NBA, NFL, and NHL teams. Non-sports agreements include Coca-Cola. Starter got notably in the early 1990s with its licensed jackets of the main professional sports leagues in the United States. Those jackets became iconic and a status symbol of the era. Apart from jackets, some of the products currently manufactured by Starter include casual wear such as t-shirt, hoodies, sweatpants, leggings, socks, and accessories such as bags and hats. Since 2007, Starter has been a subsidiary company of the Iconics brand group after it acquired the company from Nike Incorporated. So Starter failed to expand its merchandise line from licensed sports apparel to a branded apparel line. Nike decided to take a branded approach and emphasized its name instead of its licenses with professional leagues. So fans were turned off by many of the labor problems that were associated with the MLB, NHL, and NBA, and turned to athletic brands such as Nike and Fila, as well as the fashion designer brands such as Tommy Hilfiger, Nautica, and The Gap. For the past 80 years, legendary soccer players trotted around playing fields all over the world, from Seoul to Manchester to Sao Paulo to Kabul, sporting the 3-stripe Adidas logo on their footwear. Yet, caught in the downdraft that swept through the athletic footwear industry in the 2000s, Adidas, the original sport brand, somehow lost its firm footing on the bottom line. Even the purchase of Reebok in 2005 didn't help Adidas to decrease the market share lead, nor the style advantage that Nike has held for decades. By 2016, new CEO Kasper Roysted felt Adidas had focused too much attention on the functional marketing principles of the business and not enough on being customer focused. His decision was to cut down on different models and focus on being able to change products based on consumers' desire. Adidas has decided to use fewer celebrities, but to allow the few that represent their brand, such as rappers Pharrell and Kanye West, to have the freedom to be more creative and innovative. The goal is to blend the introduction of new brands such as NMDs, NEO, and Y3 that consumer will want to wait in line to buy. Ultra Boost footwear has such a comfortable sole that Adidas expects it to compete with Air from Nike. At the same time, traditional products such as casual sneakers, Stan Smith footwear will continue to be profitable, so Adidas can support the development of new footwear. Under Kasper Rosted's leadership, Adidas has decided to bet heavily on the fashion footwear markets in Germany and the United States. It will be important for Kasper Rosted to evaluate his decisions on a regular basis to make sure that the new strategy he has put into place are successful. Top management decisions have a direct effect on the success of the entire organization. When Michael Jordan went to the NBA, he sought a sponsorship with Adidas, but Adidas executives made a poor decision in rejecting MJ, saying he wasn't tall enough and that no one could relate to him. Nike made a good decision and signed MJ and also took the NBA sponsorship away from Adidas-owned Reebok. But Nike has made poor decisions too, like buying Umbro for $484 million and selling it at a 46% loss for only $225 million in 2012. We do not always make the best decisions, but we can improve our decision-making skills. And that's really what this chapter is all about. Let's continue this section to discuss the relationships between objective setting, problem solving, and decision making. The relationships among the management functions, decision making and problem solving, and the 6 steps of the decision making model that will help you make better decisions. You will also learn about your own decision making style and understand the need to use the ethical guidelines from chapter 2 when making decisions. So some researchers claim that managers typically make about 80 decisions daily, or 1 every 5 or 6 minutes, while others claim that daily decision number is in the hundreds. A problem exists when objectives are not being met. In other words, you have a problem when a difference exists between what is happening and what you and your team want to happen. Problem solving is the process of taking corrective action to meet those objectives. It may be hard to believe, but half of the managerial decisions made fail to solve the problems. When faced with a problem, your first decision is whether to take corrective action or not. Some problems result from outcomes that differ little from the original objectives, and they're not worth spending the time and effort it would take to solve the problems. Sometimes you will accept the problem or change the objective. However, it's your job to achieve objectives. So, to be successful, you must figure out how. That's really what sport managers are paid to do. Adidas saw opportunity in new markets. Its objective, provide a broader selection of sporting goods than its competitors. Its decision, enter the skiing, golf, and cycling markets. However, Adidas's decision to diversify has not been without problems. Adidas thus faces important decisions: how best to share skills, abilities, and resources. Decision makers who use the reflexive decision style shoot from the hip. That is, they make decisions without taking the time to get all the information they need and without considering many alternatives. Reflexive decision makers are decisive. They do not procrastinate, and they sometimes score on short-lived opportunities. However, hasty decisions made without adequate information can be a dangerous form of business roulette. If you tend to make fast decisions, you may want to slow down and spend more time gathering information and analyzing more alternatives when you have to make important decisions. Resist your natural tendency to jump in too quickly. Don't rely on emotional intuition, also called winging it, without using rational reasoning processes. Bad intuition leads to bad decisions because it proceeds from biases and false beliefs. Decision makers who use decision style don't rush and don't waste time. They know when they need more information and when it's time to stop analyzing and get moving. Consistent decision makers also boast the best decision-making record. Today, making better decisions faster is important to success. Thus, many companies and teams are analyzing big data as consistent decision makers. Not surprisingly, when faced with important decisions, they typically follow the steps outlined in Figure 3.1, so maybe you should too. If you are too reflective, think about what Andrew Jackson said. Take time to deliberate. Absolutely. But when the time for action comes, stop thinking and get moving. Even a correct decision is wrong when it is made too late. Jerry Seaman, former referee and senior director of officiating for the NFL, personified consistent decision making. According to Seaman, being on the field is like being in a fishbowl. Everyone is waiting for your decision. Above all, you have to keep it cool. One of the biggest errors that officials fall into is making calls too quickly. When things happen in a split second, it can be tempting to throw a penalty flag before you know what happened. That's why officials need to work in cruise control and consult with each other to get information from different angles. Using the consistent style to make calls may upset someone who wants a split-second decision without consultation or watching the tape, but bad calls will make everyone angry and will result in poor performance reviews.